everyone, it's Alexis. Funny that we're all introducing ourselves this way and that our presentations have to be this way, but I hope everyone is doing well. So for my first lesson plan, I did, for the infant and toddlers 3 to 12 months, I did a lot of finger plays. First of all, here's my prop box with the things that are in them. So I will go through them as I go along. So for music and movement, the first day I just included music makers. So I have 2 maracas. I have little like this one, and I have a tambourine. Just so the students can shake them, you can sit down with them and just play along with them, and they can really get the sense of the music and listen to the sounds that they make. And once you sit down with a toddler and you shake a rattle in front of them, like they'll want to pick one up and do it with them. So those are the music makers that I incorporated into them. For Tuesday, for music and movement, I have the song Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Wednesday, I have This Little Piggy. Thursday is the ABCs, and Friday is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. For language, I have a lot of the finger plays that the younger infants will watch you do and probably get very into it and excited to at least just watch you. And then as they get older, they will be able to try to imitate you and do the movements back. So the 5 that I included are Peekaboo, Pat a Cake, Open Shut Them, Where's Thumbkin, and Itsy Bitsy Spider. So when we get into gross motor, I wanted to make sure we implement a lot of tummy time. Like, you always want to make sure that they get tummy time that's incorporated into the classroom, into the curriculum, so they can really get the muscle power in like their stomachs, as well as like when they get older, they'll try to push up on their arms. For the first Monday gross motor activity, I incorporated outside tummy time, because not only like if you bring out a blanket on the playground or on the soft turf, and it's different from doing tummy time in the classroom all the time. My next gross motor activity is a sensory crawl / walk. I wrote sensory crawl, and then I wanted to differentiate it and also put walk, because there's a chance that maybe the older infants closer to the 1-year mark are already walking, and if so, that's great. But chances are like maybe they aren't. But what you would get are like different textured blankets, or you could get like just cloth material. You can find a lot of different textured cloth material, and if you tape them on the floor and then have the infants crawl over them, they'll get that sensory texture feel on their hands and when they're crawling around. Of course, you could do the same thing if your infants, or if you want to use this for older toddlers, are walking. You could try to get them to be barefoot if you can, and they can get the senses on their feet, as well as if they were to get down and feel it with their hands, they'd get the senses to the touch senses. For Wednesday, I had crawling practice, and this was getting like thin pillows that you could put on the ground, like a standard bed pillow if it's thin enough. You could get blankets and put those on the ground, but once you like set up a little like path for them when they're crawling, they'll be able to, like, it's gonna be harder for them than your average flat carpet. So this will help them with the arms and their legs moving and crawling over these materials. Next, for Thursday, I have soft blocks, and these are just your standard cushiony soft blocks instead of the harder ones. They're squishy, so when they play with these, they can get the texture with their hands, as well as like the older ones can actually try to build with them. Your younger infants aren't going to be able to build with them, but again, like if they're doing tummy time and you place the blocks in front of them, they can try to reach for it. They can have that motor going. Next, for my Friday activity, I have an activity called Tummy Time Painting, and this requires, you can get just regular Ziploc bags, and what you're going to do with them is you're going to put a piece of paper in it. Of course, you're probably going to want to get the bigger sandwich bags. This is all I had. Okay, so you seal it up, the paper's in there, the paint is in there, you're gonna tape it to the floor, and then they can use your finger, their whole hands, their fingers, and just when they do that, it's gonna make the marks on the paper. So then when they're done, you can take the paper out and it'll be just different colored paint splattered on the paper basically. But this activity is a big sensory thing, and for infants, like I said, you could tape it to the floor. I've done where I tape it to the wall and my older friends will sit on the carpet and they can use their fingers and sit there and do it on the wall. Next, we're gonna move on to fine motor, and this is bubble wrap painting. And again, like, you can put infants in high chairs, you can have the older friends sit at a toddler sized table. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take either a toilet paper roll empty or paper towels, and you're gonna take bubble wrap and wrap that around. You're gonna take paper and you're gonna take paint and put a little bit of paint on the paper. But what you're going to do is have them roll on the paper, and when you have the paper, it's going to leave the bubble wrap print on the paper. However, when they're rolling it, the bubble wrap gives them that texture feel. Not only are they getting paint and probably messy, but they're feeling the bubble wrap with their hands and seeing what it leaves on the paper. Next, I have watery sensory bins listed on Tuesday, and this is just taking sensory buckets and putting a small amount of water in it, especially for the infants. You only want a little bit of water in it. You can try to put soap in it. For the older friends, you can give them paint brushes. They can clean off, pretend to give the toys a bath. But this gives them the water sensory part, and this is completely, water is a different texture than the bubble wrap would be, of course, because the water is actually an element that is wet. Thursday, I have an activity that's very similar to the tummy time paint, but this can double as fine motor as well, and gross motor. This is the painting with the paper minus the paper. So basically what you're going to do is fill the bag with paint. For this one, you can probably add a little bit more paint just because the paper is not going to get destroyed inside. But as the bag fills up with paint and they use it with their finger, it's going to get thicker, and it's going to be, I feel like, a more of a sensory activity because you can actually feel the paint in it. And next I have edible Play-Doh, and this just goes along with Play-Doh. They can squish it, mold it with their hands, roll it with their hands. Again, it's another sensory activity. However, because we have younger infants in this lesson plan that we're targeting, we want to make sure it's edible Play-Doh, just because infants are putting everything in their mouths, and you don't want them to consume Play-Doh that is probably non-toxic anyway, but teachers can feel much better when it's edible Play-Doh. You don't need to sit there and be constantly on them, making sure that they're not putting the Play-Doh in their mouths. And then lastly, for Friday, I have sensory bottles, and these are the big tubes. They're usually full of water, and then they have sparkles in them, or I have ones that have big marbles in it, or the big bouncy balls. So when you turn them upside down, you roll them, the balls or the sparkles inside go around. Your infants will probably just roll it on the carpet while they're doing their tummy time. Your older toddlers might be able to do the concept of actually tipping it over. However, this is another sensory thing. It's more of a visual thing, but it gives them a sound effect. Not really a touch because it's just a plastic bottle, but they can hear it, and it's definitely a visual thing that they can do. And then lastly, for character education, these are all books that I did not have on hand. However, I found online that are good for this age group, plus probably older toddlers. But I have a book called Join In and Play, about playing with your friends. The second one is called Excuse Me, A Little Book of Manners, which tells them to use their words. Third one is Calm Down Time, and that is just trying to teach them how to calm their bodies if they get overstimulated or if they get upset or mad, how to express that emotion and just how to calm themselves down. Thursday is listening time, and that is just how to listen to your peers, how to listen to your teachers. And then the last one is sharing time, and this one is about sharing toys. And you don't want to take toys away from your friends, you want to make sure you're sharing them. My next lesson plan is for the 12 to 24 month-year-old infants and toddlers. This is my prop box that I have a couple of materials in it, and I have books that we will go over. So for Monday, I have 5 Little Monkeys. Tuesday, I have Baby Shark, which is big hit. All the kids love this one. Wednesday, I have Bringing Home a Baby Bumblebee. Thursday is the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and Friday I have 5 Little Ducks. So those ones are just simple finger plays. However, when we go up into language, it's a lot of the listening to the song and responding to the cues that the songs are singing. So, for example, the first one I have is If You're Happy and You Know It. Not only are they imitating what you're doing, they're listening to you sing it or the device play the song, and they need to listen and then be able to respond to the cue that the song is singing. So all 5 of them are songs that give you cues to what to do along with the song that they'll have to express. The next one I have One Little Finger.